thank you for joining us today for our second episode of our Digital Lives. So I'm Elizabeth. I can go by Liz. I'm going to be the host for today's live, and I'm joined with my co-host Morgan.
Yep. Hi, everyone. Just want to give a reminder. During this episode, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to put it in the chat, and we'll get right into those by the end of this episode.
Awesome. So today's going to be a little bit of a fun live. We're going to be introducing ourselves, getting everyone familiar with the clinic, asking Bud, our director, some questions, getting into all the nitty gritty with that. So just to start off, I'm Liz. I'm a field manager, the host of this live stream. I'm also an intern at the University of Michigan School of Information for this summer's clinic. And so I'll be helping out, around the events. I'm helping out behind the scenes. I'll be doing some networking, talking with everyone, getting everyone comfortable for the summer, and I'll be here for the summer. And then Morgan, our co-host, she'll introduce herself.
Yep. Hi, I'm Morgan Roselle. I'm also a field manager. Basically just been behind the scenes on a lot of stuff since winter of 23. And I'm also an intern for this year's summer clinic. I'm an intern at Unordinary Spaces, which is really exciting. Very cool. And definitely Liz and I are basically helping out everyone, organize some stuff. And it's just we're all in the same boat together pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today we're joined with Bud. He's a professor at Eastern and the creator of the Digital Summer Clinic. The creator of the Center for Digital Engagement that works with the Digital Summer Clinic. So we'll be asking him a couple of questions. Just to start off, if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the clinic and how it came to be.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Bud Gibson. As Liz mentioned, I'm a professor at Eastern Michigan. And then, the interesting point is the Center for Digital Engagement and the Digital Summer Clinic both kind of came about at the same time. So in founding the Center for Digital Engagement, I also founded the Summer Clinic, and the Summer Clinic is really our main program. So and we do other stuff throughout the year, but it's really all driven by the summer clinic. So to give you an idea of how it got started, we had a bunch of different threads going on at Eastern Michigan University around digital marketing, around sort of the new digital world that had emerged, in the past 10 years. We're talking 2014, 2015 timeframe. And so the idea of the center was to kind of serve as a place to bring it all together. And then the idea of the clinic was to act as a bridge between the academic world and the practitioner world. And really, in particular, bring students, academics, and alums together in getting students really engaged in their careers in the Southeast Michigan high-tech economy. Sort of a weird little story about how we actually got the clinic is I was in the gym talking with Bill Mayer, who's now the Senior VP of Entrepreneurial Services at Spark, and I said, we want to do a clinic. We're launching the center, and we want to do a clinic with it. Not sure exactly what that's going to look like. I mean, I gave them sort of the vague outline I just mentioned, but then you've got to turn that into something that actually happens, which usually implies budgets and all the rest. But, as I've discovered over the years, when you give people a vision, then you can kind of get down to the practicalities of making that vision happen. Bill mentioned that Ann Arbor Spark, still working there at the time, just in a VP role versus a senior VP role. And he said they were putting in a funding request to the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and maybe we could be part of it. And then from there, the rest is history. We started off with, 12 students working with 6 companies. We're now up to 48 interns working with 24 companies. As Liz mentioned, we have companies outside of the Ann Arbor Spark Incubator. We actually have 2 of them this year. One of them is School of Information, and the other is a company named My Unleashed Life. And we went from having 20 applicants our first year to having just shy of 500 this year. So, you can look at that as a 20 to 25 times growth in number of applicants. So all of that since our first clinic in 2015. So it's been a wild ride.
Wow. Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely. And yeah, going from like 20 to like 500, that is really, really insane. I mean, with that type of milestone, I was wondering, like, is there any milestones that you're wishing to hit for this summer, this summer's clinic specifically?
Well, so yeah, I read that question, and I think and interpret so there are milestones for every clinic, okay? And so what you have to recognize is, with the exception of the mentors, everybody is new to the clinic. So this is your first time in the clinic. All of the other interns, this is their first time in the clinic. Okay, and so for them, it's like an experience they've never had before, and so there's milestones in terms of them. If I look at it, I think there's several stages to the clinic. We're in the startup stage right now, where we're getting the interns connected with their companies, connected into the payroll system, started on their projects, really putting them in control of their destiny inside the clinic. And so that's really the big focus over the next 3 sessions before July 4th, is getting that intern company relationship launched successfully. Okay. Then, we come back from our July 4th break. We take a week's break at July 4th from all meetings and everything. Interns may still be working their internship, but the clinic is not running during that period. And there's no active meetings. I'll put it that way. And so then we come back, and by that stage, 4 of the 9 weeks have gone by. And so then it's a question of thinking, okay, I'm having this experience. How do I express it? Okay. How do I put that on my resume? What does this experience mean to me? Is this something, have I found my life's calling? Of course, no one has actually found their life's calling in the clinic as far as we can tell. But the thing that I know I want to pursue for the next several years at least, or did I try the thing that I thought was fantastic and realize this just isn't me, which is also an experience people have. And then in either one of those cases, how do I still make it a win-win so that I come out with a building block that I can use for the next stage of my career, and the company I'm working with also comes out with some tangible benefit to show for having me as an intern? Because that's really what you want to do, is even if ultimately you decide to discontinue a particular line of work, you want to leave the people you worked with feeling good about your presence there. Okay. And then you want to think, okay, well, where would I like to go? So that's kind of the what I'll call the second stage of the clinic. And you can think of that as a milestone that we complete by the end of the clinic. And there's another one that we also complete by the end of the clinic, and it comes up in the last few weeks, is okay, so how do I close out this experience? It's related, obviously, to, how are we both going to mutually benefit, but now I've got to bring it to an end. And sometimes bringing it to an end means, hey, I'm going to do this as a full-time job. We've had people go on to full-time work with their clinic companies, or, okay, I'm getting the project completed. I'm getting all the deliverables in. Everybody feels good about it. We all know what was accomplished here, which is a more frequent kind of ending. And then I'm thinking about, okay, well, there are sometimes continuations that come directly from the clinic. They may not be with the company you had an internship with, but what is going to be my continuation? What is going to be my concrete next step? So, I think of 3 milestones: getting started, thinking, crystallizing what the experience means to you, and then closing strong with the clinic. And so I think those are the 3 milestones we look at.
Awesome. I feel like it's really important to be able to, take your experience and learn from it and decide, if this is going to be your next step forward. If it's not, it's something that's going to work for you, and just making the best out of everything that happens this summer. So that concludes our questions that we have for you today, Bud. The next part of this live show is going to be our FAQ session, where we've received some questions from interns that they're wondering from you. So our first question is going to be from an intern. And so this person asks, how does the Digital Summer Clinic work with Spark? Are the companies separate entities? How does all that work with Spark's incubator? Just wondering how the two companies relate, essentially.
Okay, so the Digital Summer Clinic is separate from Spark. We contract with Spark. And so Spark essentially, you can think of it in some sense as I'm the general contractor, and then all of the mentors that we have and the team, including yourselves as field managers, are subcontractors that I hire in, okay, to work with the clinic. So that is separate. Now, Spark provides necessary services to make the whole Digital Summer Clinic run. And so interns are hired as employees of Spark. Okay, so the intern is a W-2 employee. That means, you get tax withheld and all the rest of Spark. And then the vast majority of clinic interns actually work with companies in Spark's incubator. And if the company is in Spark's incubator, they get your services for free for those first 10 hours that we've got. Now, does Spark only work with the Digital Summer Clinic? No. Spark works with all sorts of entities, all sorts of programs. And I invite you to go visit their website. We are their most successful internship program. They do have internship grants that they give out to specific companies, but that's a much smaller instance. And often students who start out in the clinic can take advantage of some of these grant programs to continue their internships with another company in Spark's incubator. So hopefully that answers the question. But we are separate.
For sure. Yeah, that sounds like clear things up. Our next question, an intern asked, what type of hours do we log for our timesheet, I guess? And I guess I forgot to put this in the banner, but also describe how each of those meetings differentiate from each other.
Okay. So any meeting with your company, any work you're doing directly with your company or for your company, you log. Okay. That gets logged for hours. And this was also spelled out in the offer letter we made to interns, but I'll reiterate here. The cohort meetings that we have on Tuesday and Wednesday and the all hands meeting are not logged. Okay, those clinic specific meetings are not logged. They are outside of the paid internship with the company. So, if you're doing work for the company, I would log those hours. That's just simply what I would do. And don't be shy about it. You're working. You should log the hours.
All right, that clears that up. The next question that we have asks about the certification at the end. So they're wondering, what are some of the other options besides for Google Ads and analytics? And then I think you answered the second question in your last question, do we log the hours while we complete the certification?
No, certification, 4 to 5 hours. Again, you're doing that on your own. Now, what are some of the other options? Well, I mentioned these in the meetings last night. but I'm happy to bring them up here. So we have had people do various Adobe certifications. We have had people do Facebook certifications. Any of our default certifications are free of charge. Okay. Some of the others you may find yourselves paying for. And so my recommendation is to go out and find either a free certification or a low cost certification in your field. And we're pretty open. I mean, we've done some certifications on Adobe tools. We've done some software certifications. In some cases, the certification was part of an overarching online software course, and we allowed the person to just carve out that piece. So, we're really looking for 4 to 5 hours continuing ed, self-teaching for the certifications.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Our next question is, what do you enjoy most about working with startups?
Well, the fun thing of working with startups is they have a lot of new ideas. Okay. And so, and these are, by the way, I should point out, largely unproven. Now, if the startup is going to be in the clinic, we insist that they have actual products with actual customers. Now, they could be pilot products with pilot customers, but they're not just at the idea stage. Okay. So they have something going on. And so we worked with a number of robotics companies. Robotics is big. You've all heard about AI and sort of the AI revolution going on. Well, robotics is part of that. Okay, you got the little robot wandering around in the space, doing things. What's guiding it? Artificial, what we would loosely call artificial intelligence. Okay, so those were fun. And then how do you market those for the general public? It's a sort of like autonomous vehicles, but at a much smaller scale. And what are use cases where it makes sense? Okay, we have a one this year that is just kind of a branding exercise. It's called My Unleashed Life. And they essentially make money selling doggy gear to dog enthusiasts, but they do it as sort of a lifestyle brand. Okay. Or at least that's how they're trying to do it. And, and that could evolve over time. And so it's interesting to kind of get in and see if these ideas can gain commercial traction. That's really what a startup is all about. Innovative new idea. Can we actually get people to buy in it and purchase our products and services? And then who are those people going to be? I mean, that's really the fundamental startup marketing issue.
Awesome. Sounds like the interns this summer will be doing exactly as you're saying, like working with the company and getting to know the little pieces and how it all work out, and hopefully have a rewarding end journey. So our next question is, for someone who doesn't know where to go after graduation or this internship, how can the digital summer clinic help in job opportunities?
Well, so here's what I think. So we're just at the start of the Digital Summer Clinic, and I actually raised this very point in our first set of meetings last night. And so here's the key thing that you need to be thinking about as you do this is, do I like what I'm doing now? Do I want to do more of it? Do I see something else that I think I would like more? Okay. And so you need to be thinking about that. And then the other thing you need to be thinking about is concretely, and this is hard to do. Okay, and we spend a few weeks doing this. Concretely, who is going to be my audience? And it's your audience cannot be, oh, people who would want to hire somebody like me. No, no, that's just way too vague. You need to be thinking about, okay, getting a job is, you can think about it as joining a tribe. Okay, and so, what tribe do I want to join? And then, what's important to them? Okay, that's really sort of the essence of job hunting. And so then you need to cast your experience in terms that the new tribe you want to approach will understand. Now, I think key in all of that is not just sitting back and thinking about it, kind of wondering, in your room, all alone. But you need to be out and actually trying things and seeing other people try things and doing stuff in a group, which is what we do in the clinic. But you need to be actively, while you're doing that, you need to be actively thinking about, okay, who do I want to communicate my experience to? What would they find important? How do I get that message across to them? How do I make connections? Okay. We do have, I mean, there'll be plenty of opportunity to meet people during the clinic. So that part is basically going to be there. But you're and learn things and figure stuff out. But we'll have activities going on through the fall. I know we have at least two plans so far, which is being part of A2 Tech 360 with the Ann Arbor Spark, and then also our digital marketing workshop, which will be held in November. And then we'll probably have at least some online activities in between A2 Tech 360, which is in September, and the digital marketing workshop, which is in November, and then Tech Homecoming, another Spark event where we appear, which happens around about Thanksgiving. And so there will be the opportunity to kind of continue that networking through our events.
Awesome. No, that sounds like a lot of exciting new things going to happen. I'm pretty sure everyone is like really excited for that. Many opportunities. So for our last question today, I thought this question was funny because I'm also a little curious too. When I first heard of the Digital Summer Clinic, it's asking, it will be interesting to get to know the history of additional clinic names, because for me, a little bit confusing that it is an advertising company and not a real clinic, because Digital Summer Clinic, people thought clinic as medical.
Well, right, right. Well, the word clinic is actually used in quite a few different ways, but in business and in business schools, it's usually meant as an application oriented. So you could be a clinical professor, which would mean you're an application oriented professor, really focused on practice. And in this case, you can think of the companies that come to the clinic as our patients, and the interns are the caregivers. Okay, and so that's how I would think of clinic. Okay, in this context, and now you might. I think clinic interns think, well, gee, I really have no experience or something like that. But the truth of the matter is you would be amazed, okay, at what your talents that you've learned in school can bring to companies, even if it's as simple as doing something like creating a content calendar. I remember we had a guy who had a master's degree in engineering, had an MBA from the Ross School at University of Michigan, and it was one of our interns. I think it was a PR intern, but it might have just been a marketing intern. This was way back at the start of the clinic, suggested the content calendar. And he was just agog at the whole content calendar idea. Okay. And don't underestimate yourselves. You are physicians in training, and the people who you're treating, the clinic companies, are essentially, it's like going to the free dental clinic. Okay. You hopefully you always drill in the right place, but it's a little bit like that.
Wow. Well, I think that was a great way to answer that question. Very good metaphors to get the real big picture here. So it looks like we do have one question from the audience.
Oh, wow.
And so it's from Sufyan. And so he says, what words are words of wisdom from the director of the Center of Digital Engagement? So he's just looking for words of wisdom, it looks like.
Okay. Well, I hopefully have spent the past 25 minutes spewing out nothing but words of wisdom during my time online here. I think really, I think my final word, towards interns and towards anybody really kind of getting into the job market is just engage. Really, just engage. That is the essence of it all. And you'll make mistakes, but you're not going to kill anybody. Nobody's going to die. You're not going to ruin something. You're just going to maybe make a dumb mistake, okay, which you can fix. Um, and so diving in is sort of the key to this. And we've got you teamed up. You've got an intern, another intern working with you in the company. We don't have you in there all alone. We have the cohort meetings and we have the all hands meetings. And so there's plenty of support there. So dive in, go for it.
All right. Well, that'll answer all of our questions. And the last words of wisdom. So we'd just like to thank everyone for coming out and watching this episode of our digital live. I hope it was very informative, answered everyone's questions. And we'd like to thank you, Bud Gibson, for joining us today. We're all super excited to jump into this summer's digital clinic, and we're also super excited to look forward to meeting everyone at our all hands meeting that's on Thursday and our next Thursdays. It'd be great to get to know everyone. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Digital Summer Clinic, and all of our media platforms so you won't miss anything.
Yeah, and to everyone still watching as well, we will be back next Monday, June 19th at 12 p.m. We will be interviewing our new interns, Adia Lee and Ben Greenberg, who will walk us their first week at the clinic so far and just kind of like what they're expecting throughout the summer. So you won't want to miss it. That's all for today. Thank you, and we'll see you all guys next Monday.